Greetings and salutations, and welcome to what is a prime and unique stream today. And it's a real honor because I'm actually allowed to, for the first time, have the new Chasing 80s crew, the complete crew, online in a public stream for the first time. So, of course, let me introduce you to my main guests, the founder of Chasing 80s Toys, my fellow Crazy Dutchie, and most frequently reoccurring co-host, Chris Miwa.
Oh, hello guys. Hello Jody. Thanks for having me on.
Hey Chris, hey Alf. Hey, you brought Alf back. So
Ah,
Chris, you popped up some big news last week. So it's Chasing 80s Toys. It's no longer just Chris.
then there were three.
And then there were free. So hope you all know Chris. Hope you all know how to find Chris. Of course, you can always find Chris on his YouTube channel. You'll sometimes find Chris on my channel. And what is Chris best known for besides chasing 80s toys? Well, Chris is also, of course, a cosplayer extraordinaire. So, how did you get into cosplay, Chris?
I got into cosplay about a few years ago, 2017, I believe it was, and I always had that love for the costume, keep a character alive, performing that character, and that all of a sudden happened when I started doing it. And this is one of the latest costumes I did. Gandalf, you just showed me. I also perform as Skeletor on a Comic Con and events, and Jack Sparrow was my first role, if you can call it, that I costumed.
Oh, nice. But I've also seen you in a different costume from time to time, and I don't think those are props next to you, are they?
What you got on that photo, mate? No, that those are the real guns, eh? I'm a
Those are the real
musician.
guns.
I'm a musician. I've been doing that before I started the toy channel back before COVID started. And I will be doing more music again in the future. I have three big passions: costuming, acting, the toys, chasing the 80s toys, and music. I'm a musician, so I can't wait to get back out there and start performing and connecting with crowds and just having a blast of a good time.
Yeah, sounds good, buddy. What's also kind of unique with the Chasing 80s Toys channel is a series you run called Collectors and Their Collection. And you've even asked me on this series, and you are the one and only YouTube channel or ever source that actually has my collection on there. And I think this is kind of the start, or at least a small seed of you expanding, right?
Yeah, you can say that. The seeds were planted early on, and inviting friends on my channel, good friends that I know or learned to know through this amazing toy community we have, and getting them a platform on my channel. Friends that don't always have an active YouTube channel themselves, or sometimes do, like you. You were one of the first people I had in a collector showcase, as the series is later on called. And it's a great way, of getting to know the face, the person behind the collection. There's a name in that chat when we watch the live stream, we all know, but now you have a face with it. And one step further, you're invited into their home and watch their collection, their passions. So I think it's a big deal to do these videos, and always try to do the collector, my friend, justice, because I'm not showing random stuff there. It's their pride and joy I'm showing. So I better work my butt off to get that video at my highest game that I can give.
Yeah, no, I have to say I applaud you for that, and it's actually really high quality. Um, it's also the little things you do, the little soundtracks and the little sound clips you add. Um, like if you look on my own collection video, I pan through all the cassettes, and you've noticed one little item in there, and Vector Sigma. You played the Vector Sigma tune. So
Wow.
nice. Yeah, you do a high quality job. Really high
That's why
quality job.
that's why I do it. When somebody I do a collector's video for, which is a good friend of mine, notice that detail, that attention I put there, and you did it. That sound from Fractal Sigma, the moment that was in the screen, I know I've done my job right. I've done you justice, Jody. That means I've done my
Yeah,
work right.
yeah, definitely, definitely. And you have another, actually pretty big series running on your channel. One we all love to see, your toy hunts. So tell me a bit
Yes.
about those.
Yeah, there's not much toy hunting to be done in the Netherlands, especially with the weird times we've just been going through. And good friends of mine, Jeff Barker and Scuba Pete, were toy hunting in their area. And we start talking a bit along the way. And I asked them, well, whenever you're toy hunting, would you mind shooting some footage? Would that be something you would be willing to do? And then I can make it into this video. I do all that work. You don't have to worry about that. And that brings joy perhaps to people all around the globe watching in our community who don't have that opportunity to toy hunt at the moment, That at least gives us a view that our passion, our hobby, our ability to toy hunt, it's still going, it's still happening then, and we can, enjoy it along Scuba Pete, for instance. And yeah, that they've been doing that on a regular interval over the past, so you can see them popping up. But lately, these two guys have been sending me more footage. So there was a chance, and I think you're going there with this question.
Yep.
You're going to see a lot more of Pete and Jeff on my channel because they're sending me more footage than they did before. And that got me thinking, from if I showed my two friends on my channel on a more regular basis, they're going to be appearing. Why not ask my friends if they would want to join the Chasing 80s Toys crew? And, it's be the three of us, three mates, having a good time, and see where this YouTube channel, freight train, wherever it goes. And they
Yeah,
said
so
yes.
let me get in the first of your new editions. The underwater dancer, the scuba diver extraordinaire, the underwater window washer, Scuba Pete.
Oh,
Hello.
hey! I was just texting you on my Merlin.
Yes.
I love that little thing.
Hey, Scuba.
What's going on?
Yeah, just having fun, and yeah, we heard some news that last week that you're now part of the Chasing 80s team.
That's right. It's too late to back out now. Chris has made a fatal error in inviting us to join the team. It's exciting. It really is.
Yeah, so let's pull in your other buddy, the master of foam and master of packing.
All the little pieces are ready to go. That's the gantry, all the pieces, parts, and then the shuttle and the booster.
Oh, yeah. Cheers.
Man, there's still foam bits all over the place here.
I now have a side business selling off a lot of that foam.
Packing foam
here. Yeah.
You got random quilters coming by your house going, you got some?
Right.
Exactly.
Indeed, George. Indeed, you could drop that package from 20,000 feet. I've never seen
survived.
somebody pack so well.
It was an exercise in engineering that I'd never done before. So yeah,
we defied the odds.
Yes, it lived up to the name.
So, how much foam did you actually use, Jeff?
So the local hobby store here, I don't really know. They come in like the big rolls, and I cut and part, and I think I bought like 3 rolls altogether on that stuff, and I think I used like 2.5 on those. So it maybe even close to all of it, but it was a lot. Each, that Defiant's in 3 main sections, and when you take the gantry apart, the doors when they come off, they're kind of their own section too. So like 5 total, and each one kind of got their own little treatment of wrapping, especially the 2 shuttles.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
just-
I was like up to here in foam, just like
Yeah.
help.
Yeah. It was not the quintessential foam party like you think about, but it was close.
But not a thing broken.
Nope. No, and
Nope.
that was the hard part. It's like, gosh, I hope it all makes it, and you hear horror stories left and right of them not making it, and it did.
Yeah, that the Defiant.
we have a little treat at
Oh.
somewhat later in the stream for our community, and you're actually gonna tell the story about the Defiant on the move.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
The stories behind.
So, but
Behind
before
the
we go
music.
there, Scuba, we know you from the chats,
Mm-hmm.
from multiple streams, retro blasting, analog toys. We've even seen you hold the blue spanner on multiple streams.
Yep.
And of course, we've seen you from the toy hunt videos. So tell us a bit about your own toy line. So about your own collection. What was the first toy line you started collecting, and when did you actually start really collecting this stuff?
If we, obviously we go roll back to childhood, that was Fisher Price and into Star Wars in 78. That had just a huge impact on me. Then it branched into Space Legos, Master of the Universe, and then topped out kind of my childhood with G.I. Joe, and then girls.
In that order.
And then in that order.
You collected girls?
Oh, no.
I don't want to know.
But fast forward to many years later, I think it was around 2017, Mom and Dad did the time to take your toy boxes to your house. Like, we're tired of this junking up your house. It's time for it to junk up your own house. And so going through those and seeing, all those ships and vehicles and figures and G.I. Joe file cards in the Ziploc bags. We all have them. There was something to that. And the only thing we didn't have was Motu. And that's pretty much where I kicked off adult collecting was Castle Grayskull. We went into a vintage shop and they had a Castle Grayskull for, I think I paid $110, and it was missing, a couple of the cardboard weapons rack and the robot, but otherwise everything else there. And once I got that, man, I have not looked back since. It's just been fast forward, fixing toys. So I'm watching, retro blasting, toy polloi. I'm everywhere. That's what, this whole YouTube scene where I could hang out in the chat of all these different channels and meet great guys like yourself, all these awesome people that I see names scrolling by in the chat right now.
Mm-hmm.
On
Awesome
all
people.
these different, and you're actually having conversations. You're seeing them over and over, so you're getting to be able to catch up on what you're collecting. If you're a member of a Patreon, or you're on Instagram or Twitter or what have you, it's just this neat community that I've gotten to be a part of, and it never stops. I just got a few weapons that I needed to complete my Castle Grayskull. The little tiny pistol that goes for, $50-$60 on eBay. Another toy friend had it, didn't know what he had, was just wanting an ID on it. And he asked, "Oh, do you happen to need these?" And I'm like, "Yes, that's it's been 3-4 years in the making. I would love to have those. How much you want?" "Nope, sending them to you." I post a picture of an Ewok village strut. It turns out he needs it, so I get to pay it back. I mean, it's great.
Yep, that's the cool
Yeah,
part.
that's the power of a community. So you help each other fill the gaps in each other's collections. So yeah. How about you, Jeff?
kind of the same thing. I think we all have a lot of similar stories that way, how we started when we were young, and how old we are kind of dictates a little bit of that. I started out with Adventure People when I was a little kid, and then that moved into Star Wars when I was 7, when the first Star Wars came out, and really just, I mean, I can still remember to this day laying in bed the night after I saw Star Wars and just staring at the ceiling and just completely blown away. It's just still one of my most vivid memories when I was a kid. And then just getting into the figures, going to Ralph's Toys and Hobby and picking things up off the shelf, and the smell of that stuff, and just really, it just ingrains in your head. And so, yeah, Star Wars was the biggie. And then really started getting into comic books. My first comic book was G.I. Joe number 15, first comic book I ever bought. And then that really took off into all the Marvel comics and superhero stuff, Avengers, Iron Man, that kind of thing. But I always stayed with the toys, really got into the G.I. Joe toys. But after that, I kind of dropped off of toys and a little bit of comic books as I got into college and stuff like that too. So I never got into Motu. I never got into Silverhawks or Mask, as Chris will tell you, because he's a pusher for Mask. And so yeah, I never really saw any of that stuff and really got into it. So, but it was always kind of in and out of comics, and I always had my Star Wars collection. When I was in college, my mom gave away my G.I. Joe collection, and it's still just stuck. That really just stuck to me. And so a couple of years ago, I still had a few things. And so I was at a store for something, I can't remember what it was, but I saw a G.I. Joe Moray, the boat, and it's still it's right up there. And I just like, I got to have that. And that really kickstarted things back. And then my wife and I, who is ever patient with this stuff, we moved into a new house about a year ago, and I got my own office, as you can see here. And I'm like, I'm making that into a toy room, because I started getting into the retro blasting videos and analog toys and Tony stuff. And it's just like, I got to have a room like that. And so that's kind of where that's went, and really gotten back into things in the last year and a half. And just joining this community has been eye-opening, amazing, and friendship forming has been amazing too. I mean, you three here, Tony, everybody, Michael, and just getting to know everybody in the chat. It's if you wanted to, it could take up your whole day.
Definitely.
It's been amazing.
Definitely.
Yep.
So, Chris, I would have thought it was Motu, but I was watching your stream with Retroblasting yesterday. And for the ones that have missed it, I can highly recommend to go watch it, because it was a great interview by Michael French. I thought Motu would have been the first line, but you actually had to acquire your first Motu from your brother, right?
Claimed it, sort of. Yeah. Yeah. I think before that Motu figure, I was given toys by my parents, not knowing, thinking what franchise that was. There was no cartoon or comic to go with Adventure People or with the Lego I played with or the other basic toys I had until then. That He-Man figure, when that came into the house, and it wasn't even meant for me, it was meant as a birthday gift for my brother. When that figure entered the house, something special entered the house. That was something, I knew something was about to change. That He-Man figure was hiding away in that closet, and I was, for those who haven't heard the story yesterday, I was really hoping for, that's going to be a gift for me. My parents noticed that I like this storyline a lot. And then my brother's birthday was, and he got the He-Man figure, and I ended up with Zilt. And not long after that, I sort of claimed it, because my brother he wasn't even interested in that He-Man figure anyway. And I was like, okay, I'll have that. And that was my first step into my conscious of getting toys. I wasn't collecting then at that young age, getting toys from an 80s franchise. And that set up everything that happened ever since.
So is Motu your favorite toy line?
Who are you asking the question, Jody? Me?
To you, Chris.
Okay, it's definitely up there in my top 3. But my favorite toy line, and you know what that is, Jody. You know what you were asking about. You know what piece of toy this is. You all love it. It's Mask.
It's Mask.
It's
Oh,
Mask.
yeah.
Mask is my.
Oh,
Mask
sure.
is my. Yeah.
Even I'm collecting Mask now. Damn it.
Yeah,
are.
are we to blame for that, Scuba? Are Chris and me to blame for that? I know we're
Very much
enabling
so.
Jeff,
Just like analog toys for all this action force. I mean, like, come on.
Yeah.
My wallet would be a lot fatter. But I don't care. It's great stuff.
Yeah, that's true. It can be kind of let's say addictive, or especially if you're watching like the retro blasting stream. I can definitely claim that watching retro blasting team made my wallet a lot thinner.
Yep. Yep.
What's your favorite toy line, Jeff?
I kind of go back and forth between Star Wars and G.I. Joe. I still have I've almost got a full complete collection of Star Wars figures. I'm just missing a few variants, but most of those are from my childhood. The vehicles, not so much. I only have a few vehicles, and so that just has a special place in my heart because I still have my originals. The Joe stuff is all fairly new in the last year and a half, 2 years, but it's replacing stuff that I lost. So I go back and forth. Right now, I'm really into the Joes, but it's actually starting to swing back over to Star Wars right now. So, because I've picked up a few things recently for Star Wars, like you can see behind me, the TIE Interceptor I just picked up. So, yeah, things are kind of moving towards Star Wars a little bit.
So, as a Star Wars collector, I often hear that Star Wars collectors actually smell their toys.
Yeah.
What's up with that? Can you explain that?
I don't know what that is.
I'm really, really curious.
Smell is the strongest sense we have. Yeah. And there's a couple smells that if I could bottle those and make those into cologne, I would. And one of them is Star Wars toys and used bookstore or comic book store. That paper smell. I don't know what that is. I think it's just because it is an instant pathway to a memory, or to not even a memory, but just to a feeling. And it's almost like the ASMR stuff where you're like, oh, I can feel that. And so the smell for me is very much that kind of thing. But yeah, Star Wars toys definitely have a smell to them. Let's see. No, it might be gone by now.
Hey, Scuba, about you? Do you smell your Star Wars toys?
I'm not gonna lie, it has happened. Yeah, my original childhood Luke. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I've gave him a little, but there's something to that.
I like George.
Plastic crack.
I like George Aiken's comment in the text. He says, "I'm worried there's an underground market in grinding up toys and sniffing them." Yeah, agreed.
It's like, try new Eau de Kenner.
Yeah.
So I know you have a lot of Star Wars as well, Pete. But is that also your favorite toy line, or?
I'm like Jeff. I'm very things are fluid. Don't make me choose because I won't.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll go on I'm hot for Star Wars, and then it oozes over to oh, I don't have that Joe vehicle. I'll pick that up. If you're talking modern, it's Motu Origins. I'm gaga for Origins. I've got quite a bit of the original Motu now. I mean, it's crazy what I've amassed in that, but yeah, that's
Stinkor.
A little stinker.
Stinker.
But the it's totally like that squirrel moment. You're like, ooh, new Motu Origins drop. What? Huh? Yes, I pre-order.
Yeah.
And then I dabble with Black Series, Vintage Collection, Star Wars. I enjoy certain characters, so those I try to snag. But it's not a completionist thing on that side of it. Whereas Motu Origins is definitely. yeah, I'm totally sucked in. The new Horde
So
troop.
Jeff told us that his collection is actually limited to the office. I know, Scuba Pete, you've got a huge collection. We also have plans, I heard, to expand your collection to a different room once you kick the kids out.
That is correct. In a few years, we will be empty nester, and there is a massive room that way that Mitch Moore is going to go in there. I was talking with Grindhead Jim, and he's got to store everything in totes and such. I'm just starting to get to that point where I'm having to make some choices of what can I physically display right now, and then what do I just need to store away and protect and wait for that fateful day when I get
room.
It's the room's basically like two standard bedrooms together. It's one giant room. There is a nice 150-gallon aquarium in there built into the wall that we did for our daughter. So I envision that just becoming toy central. The Lego table, I have my undersea Lego diorama setup or whatever down here, and it is actually displayed on my great grandparents' kitchen table that my dad and I restored. So that table is going to go in the new toy room as well. I think a few club chairs to hang out, and then of course I got to get some of those awesome glass retroblasty cases.
Yeah,
Schaefer's got them. I'm like, oh yeah, there's definitely going to be a wall of those. I want to have Origins pegged up. I've got some of my most favorite characters. I've got doubles, so I can free them from their plastic prison. But some of the others I want to have just pegged out like a toy store, Toys R Us, Children's Palace display. I could go on.
Look at Shabby Keek's comments, Pete.
Come on, Shabby.
Marcus
Shabby
moving
sounds jealous. But speaking of Shabby, don't you also own some furniture made by Shabby Pete?
I do. Shabby and his lovely wife Jen masterfully transformed a custom-built coffee table into just Star Wars awesomeness. So it's got Star Wars card backs. On top is Tez Roland's Reviews, another great underrated YouTube channel out there. Tez does a lot of action figure photography, and he went back and got together photos that he shot. Plus, he shot new and sent those to Shabby, and those have been incorporated in it. Jen hand painted inside the coffee table, because not only is it a table, but it's also toy display space because it's got a glass lid that comes up. And so I've got a whole bunch of real estate down in there, but she painted a whole underwater scene. There's she painted a little Scuba Pete in there, and there's like a sunken X-Wing. It's just awesome. But again, another friend that I met through this great community, and that we've become fast friends. So it's like you said, it could take up your entire day, and it almost always does, which is not a burden. It's awesome to be able to zing a message to Chris or talk to Shabby or Analog. I mean, whoever. It's just great. And then on top of that, you've got the streams and the content that you get to watch. That's icing on the cake.
Yep, agreed.
So with all the plans for the new rooms, is it all gonna be toys, or do you collect something else besides toys?
I collect a little bit of bourbon.
I think we all do.
Yeah, I don't. It'll be mostly filled with toys, but I also find myself, I do collect bourbon to an extent. Although toys has certainly taken the lion's share of that money. But I do. Living in the greater Louisville area, we're within spitting distance of umpteen distilleries, so we have access to a lot of great bourbon that is cranked out, and most of it is easily found. So, yeah.
Nice. So correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff. You're a big comic book collector, right?
Yeah, that's that's really been a bigger constant in my life, even than more so than toys, is comic books. And you can see kind of behind me all the black boxes and a few white boxes here. Those are all comic books. There's about 3,000 comics in there. So I've been doing comics since like I said, since G.I. Joe number 15, and I'm missing, I think, 4 issues to have a complete original G.I. Joe run. And so it's been a big thing. You know, I've gotten in recently into the graded stuff, you know, first appearance of Punisher, you know, graded books, first, you know, G.I. Joe type stuff. So been getting into graded things a little bit recently. And so, yeah, comic books is always there right along. It coexists at a top level for me with toys now. And then a few other things I liked, I collect first edition books, not as much recently, but like a signed first edition of Dune. I love first edition books. You can kind of see the bookshelf back there with things, just things I like to read. And then I collect, I'm an illustrator and an art director by trade, designer. And so I draw and paint a lot. And so I've gotten into pens. And so I like to collect Mont Blanc pens and watches. Love watches. I grabbed all this stuff because I had the questions. So yeah, a lot of you know, nothing major, but I like watches. I like all the, and I think that's one of the reasons I like the Joe stuff so much, is I like small, finely detailed things, and the Joe stuff is always that. Same with watches and pens. The fine mechanical stuff is always fascinating to me.
You have a really nice workbench behind you because you also fix toys. Do you also fix watches?
I don't. Oh my God, that would be so hard. Most of the watches I collect are winding watches. I'm not a huge quartz fan. So like these, you gotta wind them every morning. But no, that's an old drafting table from the 60s that I bought as kind of a workbench to help to kind of get into restoring stuff.
That's so cool.
Does my eyes pull an Eternia?
Yeah. Oh God, that's a whole other, that's another Defiant level story. It's gonna happen.
Hello, gorgeous.
I don't collect Motu at all. That is actually for Pete. That was bought at not the same place, but a small comic book store in Twin Falls, Idaho. Found that in there, and no, I don't have a Harrison Lester watch. It'd be cool though. Bobby, that would be awesome. But yeah, that Eternia is eventually going to Pete, and it's about 95% complete. So that's gonna sit next to the Defiant one of these days.
Yeah, I've already been sourcing some of the missing parts.
Yeah, we've got, and there weren't that many.
No.
Yeah,
no, the list is not very long.
Yeah, they're all boxed up, and those are just the 3 towers I kind of keep as my backdrop till we're ready to get that to Pete. We're talking about an actual road trip. I'm in Idaho, Pete's in Indiana, and there might be a road trip involved to transfer that versus me trying to deplete the the Northwest stock of padding anymore.
Plus, Jeff's financing rates right now are great.
Yeah, I've found some things around here fairly cheap, luckily. So the Eternia stuff is there was some good deals made on that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
So are we gonna see a video about the Eternias like we did for the Defiant?
We've talked about it. Yeah, we've talked about it.
Oh,
you
definitely.
can see the comic book store that I bought that at is about 2 hours away from me, and I bought this Imperial shuttle there like 2 weekends ago. We might do a video on that little guy too, because that box has never actually been opened at all. So we might do an unboxing of that one.
And the
Nice.
cool thing with the Eternia was, Jeff had taken some pictures and some video of he got to go in the back room right before that guy was actually like
it was a new store.
opening.
Yeah, it was a new store. And so it was a new store, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you guys can look around." I went there with a buddy of mine that I collect stuff here with. It's really into it too, and so more comics and getting into toys. And so he's like, and he's from that area. It's 2 hours away from where we live, and he's like, "Let's go in here." And it's like, okay, so we made a day, went over there and went into this place, and I'm taking video of everything that he has, just kind of doing the standard pan and scan type stuff, and showed these guys the video later on, and like, oh, go back, that's the Eternia playset. And I'm like, what's that? And
sticking out of a box, a couple of the towers.
Yeah, because of the towers and stuff, and I'm like, I have no idea what that is.
Like,
I don't click Motu, so I don't really know anything about them. And so, yeah, I know. And Dean, yeah, opening a vintage toy. And so, yeah, it was like, we need to figure out how to get that. And so I went back and I golfed with some buddies, and we golfed there that weekend. And so I'm like, okay, guys, this is going to sound weird, but we're done golfing. We're going to go to this toy store. And they're like, what? and so they had to help me carry it out and put it in the car. They're like, this is nuts. And so yeah,
guys, you heard it here in the stream. The Eternia playset is gonna get moved to Pete. Now is your chance. If you live in Jeff's neighborhood, this is your last chance to get your foam, because it's gonna be a foam shortage.
Yeah. Yeah, pick up the foam soon. No, I think we've talked about Pete coming out to pick it up, actually.
Yep.
And meeting in person for the first time.
Yeah, I think we're gonna do it. As things thawed early next year.
Yeah, and, first part of next year sometime.
Yep. Road trip.
So, Chris, I know you assimilate, collect toy hunters. I believe you also collect music and vinyls.
Yeah. Besides toys, I like to collect music, preferably on vinyl. And I'm a big collector of DVDs and Blu-rays. I don't want a digital copy. I want to have that product in my hands. I want to see it. I want to put it in one of my cupboards. So I got a big toy room where I'm sitting right now, and I got another room that's filled with all those DVDs and Blu-rays. And downstairs there are cupboards filled with LPs, singles from the day that I preferably play back on an old 80s Kenwood amplifier with some Sony boxes and some Sony record players, so that you get that sound right.
So any audio file, contact Chris.
Yeah.
Audio.
Audio is great.
Also
Audio is
collect,
great.
Cosplay costumes, right? So
Well, I wouldn't
I know
want
you
to.
have 3 right now. So
No,
are you planning to expand this?
I got 4 right now. I got the Jack Sparrow, I got Geralt of Rivia, the Witcher, I got Gandalf, and I got Skeletor, which is one of my favorites to do. And of course, you always keep looking at that horizon from, hey, what character from what franchise, cartoon series or movie or book or whatever would I like to bring to life and keep alive? That's even more important, And there are a few plans I'm thinking of. I've got Mask popped up, but even before that, G.I. Joe is one of the things that popped up. And there's another secret cosplay thing I'm working on at the moment. I think you were asking about that yesterday, Jody.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to have a scoop? You want to have a first look at what I am working on right now?
I would be honored, buddy. I would be honored.
Let's see if I can make that happen. Get out of the way, Elf. Elf to this side.
Oh, you should do Elf.
No, that would be so much easier. Okay. You got me on the big screen here. Here it comes, guys.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Let's see.
Wow.
Nice.
That's cool.
Nice.
I'm Iron Man.
Iron Man is one of my favorite Marvel characters. Yeah. I love Iron Man. Looking forward to that one. That's gonna be. That's cool. That's probably gonna be one of the most complicated costumes, or
yeah,
and most uncomfortable to wear, because you have no way once you're in full armor, and I'm not quite sure if I'm going to go Tony Stark with just a helmet, or the glove with or am I going to go full armor, and that would mean that you can hardly walk. You can sort of walk, you cannot sit, you can go to the toilet, you have nowhere to put your wallet, or you have limited movement. wearing the
Those are really good for a
helmet,
bag.
wearing the helmet, and I have the same with Skeletor. You know, when I wear Skeletor, I got these red LEDs behind me. It's tunnel vision. It's warm, it's hot, it's tunnel vision. To cosplay or to wear costumes, it's suffering. Why do we do it?
Because you can.
You gotta have a hobby.
Yeah, true. So there you have your
So
scoop, Jody.
Yeah, if you look into your entire collection, music, toys, DVDs, what is the weirdest or most peculiar or your most unique item in your collection?
I'm gonna stick with toys because that's impossible otherwise. I have a few things in here that, well, are they weird? Probably not so weird, but I have this can of slime from the 80s for the slime pit from the Horde Motu, and it still has slime in it.
Fancy.
Oh wow!
And until now, I never opened it.
Ooh.
So I'm gonna open it now. It has been opened before, you know. It's not sealed or anything.
Is this a Capone's vault thing?
That's right. Somebody call Geraldo.
Yeah.
Okay, it's open now. You all get this first look, and this is what it looks inside.
It's shrinking.
It's not coming out. It's
crystallized.
Do I dare touch it? It feels like frozen apple mousse or whatever you call that in English, if that makes sense.
Ugh.
And it
Smell it, yeah.
it still smells like the 80s slime. The smell hasn't changed whatsoever.
Whoa.
So it hasn't gone rotten. Only it went from that gluey, icky stuff to a more solid state. But this is one of the weird, and one other weird thing I have in my collection. You're gonna love this, Jody.
Oh, Skelevision.
Yeah. This is what
Nice.
I love, this little fella.
That's great.
So it's not the weirdest out there, I'm sure, but yeah, there's a few.
I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with Skelevision.
I know.
Because the little bastard photobombed me during one of my reviews and posted an outtake.
I don't know what Skelevision is.
It's from the Filmation Ghostbusters, Jeff.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Oh yeah, you remember in the Filmation Ghostbusters, the ghost house, everything lives, the skelephone, the phone lives, the elevator lives,
I
the
never
television lives.
really watched it. Yeah, I don't know why.
We're gonna get you
it's not
hooked
the
on
real
that
ghost.
too.
I know. I lived a sheltered life. I know.
But what about you, Jeff? What is your weirdest or most peculiar or most unique item?
I don't have a ton of weird stuff.
Some weird. Wow.
You know, I've got some weird comics. I've gotten into horror comics in the last year or so a little bit. All the Tomb of Dracula stuff, and so I'm trying to get a complete run of Tomb of Dracula. But that first one's really tough to find where you can afford it, as well as the first appearance of Blade is really tough to find. The other one, my book, probably one of the books is probably just more peculiar. This is a first edition printer's proof of Hunger Games. So this is what was used for proofing before it actually went out to be printed. I've never read Hunger Games. I bought this as this kind of it was kind of cool because I like printer's proofs. But yeah, I never really got into that one. But yeah, I don't have a ton of weird stuff. Some of the old Spawn stuff is kind of weird, but yeah, not a lot of weird or peculiar stuff. Maybe the only other one is up top is, you can kind of see, wrong side, Boba Fett up there. That is a FAO Schwartz maquette from the 90s, FAO Schwartz exclusive. And it's all rubber and it's kind of brittle and falling apart, but I love it and it's cool. But it's kind of peculiar. You don't see those around anymore. But yeah, that's probably it.
Nice. But Spawn is not weird. Spawn is just cool.
Yeah. Spawn. I was a big Spawn comic book collector when it first came out, and it kind of got me into buying some of the toys. But yeah, I don't really get that stuff too much anymore.
You had me at your Dracula. Your Dracula
How about
book.
you, Pete? How about you, Pete? What's your most weirdest, peculiar, or unique item?
You know, I ran over to the Motu shelf and I got Motu Chuck Norris.
Oh, he
Is it
looks
really
very
Chuck
important.
People know him.
Yeah.
Is it really Chuck
Norris?
Norris?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my!
Wow.
I'm not sure that Chuck would be seen in pink briefs, but
Oh, he can pull it off. I mean, who's going to tell him that he looks silly? I'm not. No way.
Good point, sir.
He'll roundhouse you.
That's right.
so what is still missing in your collection, Pete? What is your holy grail? What you're looking for, besides the Eternia?
Yeah, besides the Eternia, I don't know.
Yeah.
Jeff kind of got the flag, got the Defiant. Jeff's got the Eternia. Man, yeah, things are doggone.
Sorry, doggy.
I'm trying to think of something crazy. I don't. It's my grails. I guess are getting smaller. That's probably what it is, and it would be Star Wars Last 17. That's right, I said it. The Last 17. Oh God, why didn't I start with those when I came back to this? I should have worked in reverse. What the heck was I thinking? So yeah, my grails are now small. You know, grabbing those figures if and when I see them at a fair price, not an insane price like this past weekend. You know, that kind
I'm
of.
guessing your most holy grail item at the moment would be display space.
Yeah, rapidly. I know. I know Leslie would agree. like that's her first question. Where's that gonna go? And I'm like, no, don't worry.
There's a lot of floor space left. A lot of floor space.
And you, Jeff, would it be? I want to bet it's a comic.
There's always some comics that are holy grails for me. I've got a giant size X-Men #1 right now. I'm getting ready to sell, and that was a holy grail for me when I was a kid.
Nice.
And man, there's definitely some comics. Of course, you always want to get some of those early holy grails. First Avengers, first Iron Man, first appearance of Thor. Some of the key first appearances, but comic book market has exploded the last few years, and it's really tough to find those things in any kind of price range where you can afford. I picked up a grail item for me for Joe's a while back. This is Mickey Mouse Cobra Commander.
Oh baby.
And so yeah, he was kind of a holy grail for a long time. But I think the biggie too for me would be a plastic cape Jawa, an authentic one. I've got the Stan Solo one, which are freaking awesome. I love Stan Solo stuff. And then a USS flag but again, no place to put it. I saw a flag in my toy hunting in Portland a few weeks ago, in the box, fully there. But they wanted $4,000 for it. It's like, I'm not gonna do that. Yeah. So
maybe you can persuade Pete if he's coming over with for the Eternia and
Bring
he's
it.
out of space anyways. Swap him with the flag.
Yeah, can we do a direct swap, Pete?
That's not gonna happen.
No, I don't think so. I wouldn't have room for it. I mean, my office is
7.5 feet.
Yeah, this would take up most of this room. This is like a 12 by 12 bedroom, and it would. Yeah. Detective Comics 27 eBay right now for
on the custom base. You're going to need more like 9 to 10 feet.
Yeah, that's awesome. One of these days I will have that. The same place I found the Defiant had a flag, but it went pretty fast and it was pretty beat up. So it would have cost just as much as you pay for it to restore it. So it's like, nope, can't do it. But I've never seen one in the wild except for that one time.
Mm-hmm.
So Chris, I believe yours is a certain dragon.
I've got when you put up that question, I was like, do you mean holy grails in my collection that I have right now? Because I have some grails in my collection that I still consider a holy grail. And this is a massive shout out to all the Joe Berg fans in the chat, because I've seen a few. Yo Berg. This fella, Spirit. This is definitely.
I need to get one of him.
This is definitely a grail, and the price I got him for, just brilliant, and this has to be one of my favorite G.I. Joe guys right now I have in the collection. So Joe Berg.
Nice.
That's definitely a grail item. And another grail item I have in my collection, which I consider is this big, dude. Look at that.
I know that guy.
Yeah.
He raced it.
I
know he's no match for Triptychon.
Yeah, you raced him.
He's no match for do you say Triptychon? He's no
Yeah.
match for Trip. but there is a holy grail item on my list, and that's one I'm determined to hunt down myself. So I really want to make efforts to find it myself out there in the wild or online if I cannot, and chase it, because that's what I'm doing. You know, this is chasing 80s toys. We guys love to chase. We live for the chase. So I'm hoping to chase down a Warlock from Black Star and add that to my collection.
Pete. Yeah, one of my other ones that I also do a lot of motorcycle stuff, and I've got 3 or 4 motorcycles that I ride a lot, adventure bikes, BMW adventure bikes and stuff. And my holy grail for that would be I've always wanted a 1950s era Vincent Black Shadow, a British race bike. And one of these days, I've seen a few, I've sat on a couple, but probably never be able to afford one. They're $80,000, $90,000 sort of thing. But one of these days, you never know. Lottery.
So, Chris, what is your attack plan for getting the dragon, getting Warlock? And do you have any hints or tips for fellow collectors for chasing toys?
Yeah,
or about collecting in general?
That's a thing I learned from. That's one of the things Michael Mercy learned me earlier on. Is be patient. Plastic finds a way, and he was so true about that. You know, you can go for the very best first thing on eBay and pay major prices for it, or you just can sit out and wait out, and then the right deal will come along. As I got this fellow for €35.
Wow!
A complete spirit, unbroken, in really good condition, €35. And I could have gotten a spirit earlier. And the same with the Warlock. I've seen Warlocks go on eBay for what, $400 or something in that region. I know if I just keep my patience and I wait, I can find one for $150, sure, as long as I wait long enough. And the joy will be even more so, because I took, gone to that extent to get that toy. That way I can enjoy the prize even more so.
Nice, nice.
So plastic finds a way. That's the tip that I would like to give.
Yep, good tip. How about you, Jeff? Tips for hunting or tips about collecting in general? What to do, what not to do, how not to go overboard, how not to piss off the missus.
Piss off the missus, exactly. Yeah, it is a balance. You've got, and I know we've all gone over that balance sometimes, and we're like, oh wow, I should have done that. But you do, and it's a mindset you've got to get into. It's like we all get it. We all get into this for the love of the toys we want and the nostalgia we have for them. So I would always say collect what you love. Most of my collection is what I love. Not all of it, like for me, G.I. Joes, I only collect 82 through 86. I don't collect anything past that. I don't need to get all the variants for every little thing, but I do like some of them, but I'm not a completist for most things. But always find your niche that you like and collect to that and stay true to that. And like Chris said, have patience, because things will come around. And that is the fun of this whole hobby altogether, is the hunt for things. Yes, this community is freaking amazing, and I've made some great friends, and like family. But the hunting part of it is what binds us, and I think this is the huge part of it. And yeah, it's just be patient and collect what you love.
Anything to add, Pete?
Yeah, I would say don't be afraid as a collector, because it's one thing on YouTube, right, that you can find like-minded people, friends. It's another one in your real life, like you said, with your golfing buddies, like, we're going to go where. But when you're more open and letting other people in your life know what you're, hey, I've got this crazy passion. Yeah. I like, like you own it. It's nothing to be embarrassed about. It's a blast. It's amazing. One, how many more people are like, I didn't know you collect. I have, and they'll tell you, things. Yeah, I've got a few things. But also random things that will pop up. Leslie had a coworker who knows that I collect. They were just cleaning out, the garage or whatever. I came home to a very dirty but very nice vintage 78 TIE Fighter, that I got to, doggone it, I got to clean up and get put back together, which is as the hunt, oftentimes the fix or chasing some parts. That's a blast. That's a whole other facet of this. But the fact that it's widely known that, hey, you collect toys, and I get friends, messaging me from church or high school or what have you. Hey, was thinking of you. I'm at wherever, and do you have this, or is this something you'd be interested in? Like they're actually out there helping, bird dog some of this stuff for you. So yeah, don't be afraid to put yourself out there in your real life. And let people know,
be ashamed of your hobby.
Yeah, what your passion is, because as crazy as it sounds, it might and does pay off. And plus, you're going to meet even more people. Matt, that I bought the Defiant from, great friend. We celebrate Defiant Day when we first met off of a Facebook Marketplace post. That's how I ended up with that. Matt and I are pals, brother from another mother. It's awesome. I mean, there's not a week doesn't go by that we aren't like, hey, are you looking for, what about this? On top of just real life stuff. It's great.
Yeah.
I think go ahead, Chris.
There are 2 tips I like to add to that list. One is them, and I think our good friend Dean from All Things 80 said that one time too. Collect how you want to collect. Nobody makes the rules for you.
Right.
If you collect in a way that makes you happy, then that's a good thing to do. Nobody can ever tell you otherwise. And a second important tip is subscribe to GenX Toys Geek. We're all wearing the shirt. We're all here to support you, Jody, and subscribe to this amazing channel, because Jody, he makes great content. He is a master of preparation.
Yes,
there's such high quality there, and we want to get his channel. I think he's going towards 500. It would be so cool if this weekend we can get him over that 500, and then onwards to 1,000 and to the stars and beyond, or wherever we can take this thing.
Yeah.
I think another big thing to add to that, another big, is to educate yourself as a collector, because we all know how much minutia there is, especially the GI Joe or the variants. But you also have to be open to new things. Like Chris is really, and Jody have really opened my eyes to Transformers and Motu, and especially Mask. Tony has completely enamored me with from Analog Toys with the Action Force stuff. I knew nothing about, when I started getting this, I knew nothing about anything from overseas. I knew nothing about Pallet Toy. I never even heard that name before. Connor Fuller sent me a complete Pallet Toy X-Wing that I absolutely freaking love. And so this community, through education, through talking and getting to know people, you expand every horizon you'll have as far as friendship and knowledge about what we do.
So yeah, one common word comes back and back, and that's community. We've become good friends. We're not just a random group of collectors that by chance see each other in a chat from time to time. We've become what I think a true community. So Pete, what was actually what I would like to call, what was your gateway drug into this community? How did you start interacting with all of these amazing people that are in the chat now?
It's well known that, and I think, Retroblasting. Hey, Michael, just popped on. I ghosted many of his live streams. I would watch them, but I was not in the actual chat. I don't know, for whatever reason, I was like, no, I'm just going to consume this. But as I watched more and more of his content and other channel, I'm like, this is cool. And, you're going through the comments, or maybe you leave a comment. I think that was probably my first thing, was like, oh, you can comment on YouTube videos? Go figure. And then it was, okay, well, if I'm doing that, why am I not participating, in these, the live stream chats? Especially a lot of these channels do a great job of interacting with the chats. One of my favorites is Clobbering Times. And you can find me there Saturday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, and we talk Star Trek. And I popped into that community. I love Star Trek, and so I felt like I got to bring something to the party to start commenting. And here's people like, "Oh, that's a very good point," or that, I'm making a funny joke or a pun, and cracking people up. And so it just became easier to start interacting with the community. And so I've never looked back. I mean, it's so great. I think I often spend about 5 minutes saying hi to everybody, especially if I'm late to a chat. When work gets in the way, and it always does, doggone it, and you'd rather be on a live stream chat. But when you do, and then you're going back and going, okay, I want to make sure I say hi to everybody I know in here. Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh. So it often takes a few minutes just to say hello. And everybody's so gracious in saying, hey, what's up? How are you doing? I mean, they genuinely mean it. It's not just hey.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, agree.
Wow.
And then,
how about you, Jeff?
Yeah, just good stuff.
Yeah, I think a lot of us got into this community because we were looking for research on our toys, and I was doing searches and found some YouTube channels on some toy repair stuff, and started watching some of the toy ploy stuff and Michael's retroblasting stuff, and some of the other channels too. And some of the other ones I realized fairly quick were pretty superfluous. They were not really diving down deep. They were very superficial, and so I kind of got rid of those. But I stuck with Tony at Analog and Michael at Retroblasting, and quickly realized, wow, these guys have the integrity I want, and they also have the know-how and the deep dive for everything that they're doing. And that really got me into this. And like Pete said, you all of a sudden you're showing up on the live streams, and you're like, oh wow, I can comment on this stuff. So off you go. And it has been a complete gateway drug, completely. And and because of that, and because of getting to know people in the chat, I've met Chris, I've met Pete, Jody, I've met you, and a bunch of other people that we talk on a weekly basis now.
Yep.
Chris?
If not daily.
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes minutely.
Sometimes.
Jeff, I'm trying to sleep
you,
now.
Chris?
It's midnight in the Netherlands,
I know.
Some people need to sleep.
Yeah.
That's the curfew time zones.
Yeah.
That's 2 time zones, you boob. Yes.
So Chris, what was your gateway drug?
Yeah, it's sort of similar what my good buddies already said. You first you watch from a distance, and then you realize that you can actually participate in a chat and say something, and people actually say something back to you. And there was this guy in this chat who was one of the first ones to respond and say a warm hello to me, and that was this guy over here, Mr. Scuba Pete. He was like, hi Chris, and I had a good feeling from the start with Pete, and we contacted, got along, we chatted off the streams again, and this beautiful friendship involved. And very soon Jeff jumped on the bandwagon. You and I, Jody, got to be friends, and that the way that goes. But you have to put the first step yourself, of course, and that's watch a live stream. There's so many channels out there on the YouTube channel, and not every one of those is going to be the right one for you. Of course, that makes sense, but yeah, the 2 of the first channels I jumped onto that I got to know was Michael Mercy and Analog Toys, and I met Pete because he was on both. And through Pete, I met Retroblasting. I met Joe Burke, the guys from Joe Burke. I made friends along the way. We chatted off the after streams, and it's amazing what friendships, I got friends in Canada. Dave, I've seen you in the chat. You're a real good friend of mine now, and I did a collector showcase video of you on my channel. So see how that can evolve. A year ago, before COVID started, I started with a hello in a chat from Analog Toys or Michael Mercy, and Pete answered to that, to where we are now in 2021, and here we are on your channel, Jody. How amazing is that?
Yep, agreed.
It is absolutely.
Yeah, and
amazing.
it really is worldwide. I mean, to think that we're talking right now, Pete and I are half a country apart, we're half a world apart, Tony's in Australia, half a world, 3/4. I can't do math, but Michael's back in Atlanta area, and I'm surprised we don't have somebody from Fiji or something, one of the island nations or something like that. But their toy hunts would probably suck. But it's just crazy how big this community is and how the technology has allowed us to become great friends, even though we've never actually met in person.
Yeah,
amazing.
I mean, there's Salacious Rum just popped in the chat, and he's a lovely British friend of mine. I mean, I can't wait to go to the UK to meet like my family from that country. Like, it's gonna be just like ridiculous, I'm gonna need a week to just like go around and see everybody, and then like hit the Netherlands, and I mean it's insane when and our neighbors. It's crazy when you start working into chats. Like, I gotta let you go. I gotta go talk to my friends, and they're like, huh? And you're like, well, they're only up for a couple more hours. They're in England, and they're like, what?
Yeah, exactly. I can't tell you how. I mean, once a week I look at flight costs for like either the Netherlands or Australia or Atlanta or whatever, or Indiana. Is like, what would it cost to go there right now?
I'm sure it's going to happen that we're going to meet each other. The four of us and many of us in the chat. There's people from Ireland there. I've seen Bob Squad is in the chat. Yo, Bob.
Nice.
I would love to meet you too. Oh. And it's you remember in the 80s when you had those walkie-talkies? And you and your friends went home each way because you have to eat or it was back time. But still, there was that connection with that walkie-talkie with your friend across the block, know. And then you put it out, went to sleep. This is a similar thing. The moment this stream is over, and we all go to our own thingies, you push that button, you realize dang, I just spoke with somebody in Aussie, or I spoke with somebody in Canada, or in in the UK, Ireland, in US, Samoa, whatever.
Yeah.
Magic. Imagine it's still the same magic that I felt back in the 80s with those walkie-talkies.
Yeah.
We're still doing it. The 80s are not gone. They're still here.
Now for the next question, just jump on this one, guys. No specific order. So do you have, as a group, as true community members, as the veteran community members, do you have any tips, hints, or tricks for new community members or people that actually would like to start participating in this community?
Yeah, find your groups. Don't be afraid to reach out. Don't be afraid to say hi in the chats and stuff, and just start participating. If you're there and if you're there consistently, and it may, even not consistently, but just if you're always there, just kind of engaging, people will engage back. That's the thing about this community that's awesome, is people will jump back in. Be nice, be fun, and this group will reciprocate in kind over and over and over again.
Similar-minded people will reach out and find each other. Yeah, that's so true.
And so many of these channels have their own Patreons.
I was going to say,
for like very little, for some of them $1, you can, support that channel financially, but also many have community pages, which are a lot of fun to be able to hang out, share some of your collection or what you find.
Yeah, I actually need
what
to do
you're
more
watching.
of those.
Yeah, it's great, and we did. We cut the cable, as it were, many years ago. And when you think about what I was paying to have that for a bunch of channels I never watched,
right?
It's like, yeah, I'll do Patreon. I'm like, $1, $2, $5, whatever. To help out, because that's where I'm investing in these
you are paying for your community at that point, and you are a building block in that community that is a substantial building block then. And if you need to, the Patreon stuff is such a great way. I need to expand my Patreon thing. Right now I've only got a few, and I there's so many great channels I've discovered. Grindhead Gyms is an awesome one I need to get into. Dave, All Things 80s, is like so cool stuff. And that supports them and what they're doing, because this stuff is, and Michael, you're absolutely right there. Be honest and respectful, and that honesty will be given back to you. And this this community is very helpful that way, and it's awesome.
We all are Goji. We all are. We're waiting for Jason 80s to launch a Patreon. Let's talk about the elephant in Scuba's room.
Yeah.
Tell us a story about for the folks that haven't seen the video series. What is the story behind the Defiant? How does this all happen? Because it had to take 3 different videos, a 3-part series. So something must have been good.
So, yeah. So actually, that animation or that image right there, the Defiant is actual photos of the real Defiant that I took out on the porch. But yeah, just to kind of cap that a little bit. So there's a pawn shop here in town, actually the town next to us, about a half hour away, that I heard one day has comic books and some G.I. Joe stuff. I heard that from a buddy here in town that I do some stuff with. And he's like, you should go over there and check that out. I was like, okay. So I walked over there. Well, not walked. I drove over there, walked in, and one whole wall of the store was G.I. Joe toys. And nose to nose was a Defiant and a flag and then the Terror Drome. And then the Terror Drome that I have behind me was there also. And some of it was pretty rough, but then they had all kinds of other vehicles. They had a Mauler. They had some of the newer stuff, not newer, but like mid-90s things. And I'm like, man, that's awesome. I've never seen a Defiant in real life or a flag. The Defiant was kind of spendy, and so was the flag. And so I looked at some of the comics, and I bought the Mauler and walked out. Kept going back over and over again for the next few months. And after about 8 or 9 months, the flag was gone. I'd bought a few of the other smaller stuff, and I'd cleaned them out of all their G.I. Joe comics. But the Defiant was still there. And I knew nothing about it. So I went home. I'm like, they've come down in price. And so I'm like, I'm going to look into that. So I came back home, did research, because I was like, I know there's, same with every Joe you have, there's hundreds of parts to the damn thing. And you got to know your stuff when you go to look at them. And so I went there and did my research and looked through Michael's, some of his Defiant videos to watch some of that, and went back and was able to cut the price even more down, half of what they were asking for it. So I was like, okay, I'm going to buy that. So I bought it and got it home, started cleaning it up, and started playing with it a little bit and trying to making sure it was still in really good shape. It was in really great shape for what it was. And then in the chats started talking. And then at one point someone asked Pete in one of the chats, and I think it was a retro blasting video or a live stream. They said, hey, Pete, what's your holy grail? And Pete's like, oh, I'd like to get a Defiant. Well, at that point I'd had it for a while, and it was taking up tons of room. And I was trying to be true to my date range of Joes that I collect, 82 to 86, and Defiant was outside of that date range. And I'm like, I probably should move this along. And I'm not a flipper. I don't buy stuff to sell very much. Pete's made me different. And so I'm like, hey, Pete, I have one. And we had never really talked before that. You know, we'd seen each other in chats, and that's about it. And so we kind of got a hold of each other and started talking, and he's like, yeah, I'm totally interested. So I, sent photos and that kind of stuff. And it's like, yeah, I definitely want to get it. I'm like, so I was out driving around one day. I'm like, man, this would be a cool video. We should document this somehow. And of me trying to get it to it, because we'd been talking about how to get it to him. And he's like, hey, I know someone that would be great for this. And so then he brought Chris in. And so then Pete and Chris and I just started having a weekly call to coordinate this whole thing.
Yep.
And that weekly call has turned into a still weekly call, but we've added people, and it's become a kind of a monster, and we've got a chat and stuff. And so that we talk to each other every day, all throughout the day on this thing. And so that's kind of how the impetus of this was, that we got going on the Defiant, was getting that. And so, like you guys have all seen me trying to wrangle this thing and put this into a box and put some padding around it. So because I'd watched the G.I. Joeberg unboxing of their Defiant when it was basically in just shattered pieces when they opened it up, and it's like, oh God, I can't have that. And then watching Michael's from Retroblasting's videos about how fragile the doors were and stuff, and the doors on mine would not come off. And so Pete and I were like, and Chris and I were like, yeah, we kind of got to get that off. And so that was part of the video, and it just kind of snowballed from there.
You know, the thing is, when we started making this video series, part 1 was out there on YouTube. So we started the adventure, and it still has to go all the way to Pete cross country.
Yeah, we didn't know.
We had no idea how this would end in part 3. If it would be a happy ending where Pete would be happy with his new toy, or if it also would be shattered to pieces. We had no idea how this was going to go, but we had to go with it because, you know, when you say A, you have to say B. We say in the Netherlands, right, Jody? And
yep.
Yeah, it was really exciting for the 3 of us. And I was over here in the Netherlands editing away, Jeff sending me footage. Then Pete came in the picture once he received the Defiant. He sent me footage. And I had the feeling, because I was editing that videos together, that I was there with Jeff when he was packing it, you know. It really connected the 3 of us, like we were all there participating equally in this adventure. We were all rooting for this Defiant to get safely from one side of the US to the other side.
Well, and considering also I sent him way more footage than we ever used. It's like Chris is going to get really sick of seeing me after a while.
No, so it only bonded the 3 of us even more through that adventure, right?
Yeah,
the
I think
friendship
so.
even flourished through that. And the moment, and maybe you, Pete, can say something about that moment when that truck arrived on your lawn. And tell us something about that, mate.
You know, Jeff made friends with the local gal at the UPS store, thank God, and she took, you know, great pity on us, the royal we, to really make this a labor of love and help Jeff pack this and also ship it the most economical way.
Oh yeah. Yeah, she because she actually unboxed a lot of the stuff I boxed up here and said, we're going to do this differently. We're going to put this. She actually had a giant pallet. She's like, we're going to send this as freight versus just as a shipment. And she reboxed some of the things. She kept everything wrapped, but she took them out of my Home Depot boxes because they weren't, you know, they weren't good for shipping. And she reboxed a lot of the stuff and put things in a bigger one and put peanut stuff all around it. And she literally like walked around the whole thing, wrapping it in saran wrap. And she was absolutely amazing. She was the unsung 4th person in this video.
Yeah, and we chose the pallet because it didn't have to go anywhere to get sorted.
No.
Like, once they put it on a truck, it's staying on the truck.
That truck went from the UPS store. They picked it up that morning, took the lift and put it on the truck. That truck drove to Pete's house and dropped it in their driveway. And it was the cheapest way to do it.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm cutting the grass. Like, you know, been watching updates. I know it's in the greater area somewhere, and so I'm cutting the grass, just trying to keep myself busy because, you know, we're down. It's finally go time. Like, is this thing going to be just a bunch of fractured parts, or is it going to be, you know, wholesale in just awesome shape? And so I'm like mowing the grass, and I'm listening to my 80s tunes and just trying not to think about it. And then I can hear the, and I'm like, that's a big truck in the neighborhood. And I kind of just, you know, I'm like mowing a little slower. And then I see, here goes the brown what can do for you truck. And I just let go of the mower, you know, and I just start going, yeah. And the guy kind of loops around. He comes back and he knows he's at the right spot. And I'm like, how you doing? And
he's sitting there going like this.
Yeah. As you see in the video, literally, once we got it down off the pallet, Leslie recorded me doing the safety dance. But I was like, you know, doing the happy dance around. And even the neighbors later that night on kind of the neighborhood chat were like, okay, what in the world did you get that you were dancing around on your driveway? And I'm like, it was a space shuttle, you know? And they're like, we should have known it was a toy, you know? And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, and then it turned out it actually shipped
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, it was. I had the duty of shooting that unwrapping video, and I'm like, oh man, at any point this could go bad, and it's I'm gonna be on camera, like, let's see how this part. Oh, it's great. Oh no.
Yeah.
So luckily, no, everything was great. The big door unveilings.
Yeah.
Sound is a pound.
Nothing of that is faked. Everything is real. And whatever the outcome would be, we would share that in part 3 for you.
Completely.
Even if it was a bad ending. But it was a good ending. That was.
Yeah, and then you were able to put it all back together. Now you got tons of Joes hanging off of it.
Yep. Fully stocked. There's a joint mission between Space Force, Action Force, Space Force, and G.I. Joe on the Defiant. Yeah, I'm quite proud of it.
Yep.
What's going to be your next project?
I have the power of Eternia. Eternia. Big project.
There we go.
Yeah.
Eternia.
Yeah. That'll be the next big group.
That's going to be the biggie one, but we got tons of fun lined up already. We got Goji coming to our channel this Tuesday with the very first tour of Goji's collection. So that's going to be, I think, a first, right?
Yeah.
And we all know and love Goji. He's such a good friend of us, and I can't wait to share that with all of you. Goji has seen it. I've seen it. Nobody else have seen it besides this circle. So that's going to be a big one. But we got more toy hunting from Scuba Pete coming up the week after that. And the week after that, Jeff is going to do it's like Top Gear, this, isn't it? Jeff is going to do an unboxing.
That's right.
Right here, of this guy.
No, the other one that's in the pipeline.
Your Y-Wing.
Oh, the Y-Wing, yes.
The Y-Wing.
I found it in Portland. The original in the box Y-Wing. No, I don't see myself.
Good question. Who makes these questions?
Yeah. The Y-Wing was a find in Portland when I was there a few weeks ago for an IndyCar race, and it's a vintage, still in the box, that I opened up and took out. So we'll do that, and then we'll do one of. God, I can't go the wrong way. We'll do one of the this Imperial shuttle that I just picked up. That's literally never been out of that box.
Pick it up. Bring it to the screen, Jeff. Bring it up. We gotta show us that beauty.
This thing is.
That's big.
Oh my gosh.
And so,
wow,
it's never been open. I did open the top, but it's just to give you a little peek. It's got the
inserts.
It's still in there.
Wow.
So there'll be an unboxing of that little guy. Not really.
Yeah, a big unboxing. That's big guy. Looking forward to that, because thanks to this community, it started with Pete, and then a good buddy Michael Schaefer followed up on that. They got me some vintage Star Wars toys, and now I'm slowly at this age learning about this awesome universe of Star Wars, and that's amazing. I'm looking forward to working on that one, Jeff, and learning a few things myself along the way.
Me too. And Brandon, I love the Y-Wing too, and I've always liked it, or I never liked it when I was a kid, but I love it now. I've come around to that aesthetic for some reason, with that ship, and watching Tony's restoration video of it that he did from Michael Schaefer, it was like, I got to have one of those, and
amazing.
I got lucky and found one.
Jody, I got a question for you, my friend. We were talking about these a little bit earlier in the chat. Is this a fun moment to tell a little bit of the backstory? Because, Jeff and Pete are part of the Chasing 80s crew, but, GenX Toys Geek and Chasing 80s Toys are, sister channels, or how do you call that?
Yeah, sister channels or brother channels.
But we're practically the same, right? So tell us a bit about this a lot, That's a fun story to share with the audience.
Yeah, that was actually a really fun story. I think you shared some photos on Instagram of Zoidzilla next to Metroplex.
Yeah, you're right.
Size comparison. And I was like, this Zoidzilla, that's the structure, the way he looks, the joints, he looks a lot like Triptychon. So I asked Chris, can you compare him with Triptychon? So Chris says, well, Jody, I don't have a Triptychon. Well, he got one soon afterwards.
That didn't take long.
That didn't take long to get there.
Until
And,
Jody.
Yep. And to do a true comparison, he actually raced the two together.
Yeah.
And, which was actually a surprising outcome, how slow Zoidzilla was.
That's a great video.
That was fun. That was so much fun. Jody and I start chatting. Even before I did the video, because I was like receiving such a cool gift. And Jody said, you should do something with that. And I was going to do an unboxing. And I was like, Jody, these two could race each other because they're both motorized, right? And then started the end of the video, and I showed it to Jody. I said, look at the champ is here. And I was all boasting about, can nobody beat this guy? And of course, knowing Jody is Jody, he had an answer to that, didn't you, Jody?
Yeah, so I was looking on my shelf, and I was thinking, hey, I've got a motorized Lego AT-AT, and I'm curious which one will win. And I guess the AT-AT beat Triptychon. It actually both blew us away. We never expected that one to happen.
Yeah, didn't see that coming. And the fun bit is we did part 1 on my channel, Chasing 80s Toys. We did part 2 on Jody's channel in order of crossing the channels, to get this out on both channels, sharing. It's not one channel going with all the glory and the videos. No, it's sharing. And that's another strong point, I think, we can learn from this awesome community we're part of. We do shout outs for other channel.
Yep.
All the time, it's not about our own channel. We don't have egos. We leave those at the door. We work together. And what fun did we have? Because Jody actually went over here to the Chasing 80s Toys toy collection room. And this is where we raced those toys. And it was so much fun making that video, wasn't it, Jody?
Yeah, definitely. But you also added some little extras, like we're setting up some figures as the crowd viewing.
Right.
What's his name? The evil guy from Ghostbusters with the flag.
The Ratchet Ghostbusters, Ghost Bunglers. Primeval from Ghostbusters. Yeah, he was in there holding the flag, and that was something we did. I think we did it on the I made that up on the spot from, hey, somebody has to be referee, and he was back for that revenge with your vehicle. And the challenge, people, is still open. So if there's somebody out there with a vehicle, a toy, or whatever motorized that can take on Jody's champion, get in contact with Jody, and we can see how we can work for there. Even if we live on other sides of the globe, we're creative enough to think of something. We work it out.
Or if you want to challenge Triptychon, thing Chris, and let's see if you can make it happen. Yeah, all good fun. And since then we've done multiple collabs. We also started live streaming together, both a unicum for us to dive into the deep live streaming, and also those we swap between channels.
Yeah,
part 1 on yours, part 2 on mine. We did Mask. We've got another one upcoming in the near future.
Do we? What's that going to be about, Jody? Tell us about what we're going to be. There's a power that comes from.
About one of the cartoons and Toyline with the most amazing intro, but yet the biggest disconnect between cartoon and Toyline.
Yeah. So we're working on that, and that's coming in the near future to a channel in a galaxy near you. Is that what you always say? Do I got that right?
Something like that, indeed. But guys, as we're hitting the 1.5 hour mark, anything you want to add that I haven't asked or we haven't addressed yet about Chasing 80s, 80s Toys, and the new crew members?
Did we mention to subscribe to GenX Toys Geeks yet, and that we wear these awesome T-shirts of this channel? Subscribe to GenX Toys Geek. It's an awesome channel. Content that's totally different from what it's unique what you do, I think.
It is.
And the quality shows, and that's, I really enjoy it.
Thank
you, Chris. Thank you.
I can't give you enough shout out, mate. We're gonna get you over that 500, and you deserve so much more subs than where you are at the moment, honestly.
We'll get there eventually. Like you said, all good things come when you wait.
True.
It's always or is it numbers. Yeah, we're just having fun. It's all about having fun.
Oh yes.
Building a community, and
the plastic finds a way.
Better example than building a community was Iconicon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, follow Chasing 80 Toys. Where can we find you besides YouTube?
Where can they find us? Come on, crew. Where can they?
I don't really have a ton. I've got I've got a few. Mostly just through the YouTube channel and through Chasing 80s Toys stuff.
Yeah, they can find us on YouTube. They can find the three of us on Instagram.
Yep.
Pete, Jeff, and I are there on Instagram.
Yep.
And we move in same circles most of the time. So there's a whole awesome community we're part of, and everybody in the chat. I recognize almost every name that pops up there, and with a lot of them know the face behind that by this time. So,
yeah, definitely.
And I'm on Twitter too.
Are you on Twitter?
I
Awesome.
am on Twitter.
You brave man.
I know. I'm a social media lurker. I have those channels, but I don't ever post or anything. I look up toys.
There's a great
Awesome.
for as much as you want to say about Twitter. There's some great toy community going on.
There are.
Awesome.
There are.
I don't know it. Like Jeff, I'm a bit shy of social media. It's still relatively new for me in that aspect, so I'm very carefully setting my first steps. It's a big thing. We opened a YouTube channel like this, so that
I know.
let's see where that goes. But awesome.
And
awesome.
when's the next time we'll see all three of you together again online?
Ooh, that's a good one.
I suspect we'll some sort of a live stream at some point. We're gonna have
the
to
next few
rip
weeks
the bandage off and just do it.
The first Chasing 80s Toys live stream, that would be something. Yeah, we're definitely going to chat about that, to do that somewhere in the near future. That would be awesome and exciting. And Grand High Jim is just had Pete on the channel. He's going to have you on, Jeff, in the future, I believe.
Yep.
And
we talked just briefly, so sometime soon.
Yeah, he's invited me today too, so we're going to chat this Monday at 6 p.m. EST. That's on the Grindhead Gym channel, so that's another awesome channel to look out for. And so much cool channels out there. There are too many to I'll probably leave a few out if I start doing shout outs now, which I always like to shout out other channels. It's not about me chasing it. There's so much cool channels out there. Yep. Look at what Sal is doing with 2 Cent Toys. That's an amazing channel. Look at Vintage Storage Wars, Reynolds Reviews, Joe Burke, GenX Toys Geek. Did we mention GenX Toys Geek already?
I've heard of that one.
Oh, cut it out.
David,
I'm rambling.
David Vintage Toys. Yeah, I mean, there's some great stuff.
Definitely.
Yep.
Anyways, we've hit the 1 hour mark, guys. I would like to thank you very, very much for being online with me. And Chris, thank you very much for giving me the honor of getting you three on a public live stream for the very, very first time.
Well, and
thank you very much, guys.
And thanks to Chris for having this idea to tolerate us.
Right? Yeah. We still have the best part.
Yeah.
All right.